Hello and welcome to another intriguing episode on Business House. We are bringing you the lesser-known stories behind some of the world's most famous brands. Today, we delve into the dark past of a name synonymous with high-end fashion and style, Hugo Boss. While the name Hugo Boss evokes images of sharp suits, luxurious fragrances, and timeless fashion, it also harbors a disquieting secret, one rooted in one of the darkest periods of modern history. Hugo Ferdinand Boss, the founder of the brand, had a notorious affiliation with the Nazi Party, one that played a significant role in the company's early growth and survival. Indeed, it was Hugo Boss who supplied uniforms to Hitler's Third Reich, an association that fueled the company's expansion, but at a tremendous moral cost. Today, we shed light on the sinister history of Hugo Boss. Stay tuned as we unravel the chilling bond between high fashion and dictatorship, and how Hugo Boss has since grappled with its complicated legacy. And as always, before we start, remember to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. We have a lot of interesting content on the way that you won't want to miss. As we step back into the early 20th century, we find Hugo Boss starting a small clothing company in Metzingen, Germany in 1924. Initially, the company produced shirts, jackets, and work clothing, but the economic impact of the First World War and the following global depression hit Boss's business hard. With the rise of the Nazi Party, Hugo Boss, like many German businesses at the time, saw an opportunity for growth and survival. In 1931, Boss made the fateful decision to join the party, becoming number 508,889. And with this alliance came new contracts. Hugo Boss began manufacturing black SS uniforms, later expanding to Hitler Youth, SA, and SS Guards uniforms. These contracts, albeit morally troubling, financially buoyed the company during this turbulent era. The demand was so high, Boss had to employ forced laborers and prisoners of war to meet the production needs. The company's use of forced labor was a violation of international law. This is one of the darkest chapters in the company's history, a chilling reminder of the lengths some will go for economic survival. But how does a company move forward from such a tainted past? And how has Hugo Boss dealt with this part of its history? As we move through the annals of Hugo Boss's past, we will explore these questions and more. Stay with us as we peel back the layers of this intricate story. We'll be back after this brief message. As we continue our journey into the past of Hugo Boss, it's vital to note the stark contrast between its earlier years and its present-day status as a world-renowned fashion brand. After the war, Hugo Boss faced consequences for his actions. He was interned by the French and later released. The company was passed on to his son-in-law, Eugene Holy, upon his death in 1948. In the years that followed, the company shifted its focus, slowly stepping away from its troubled past. Under new management, Hugo was transformed from a uniform supplier into a fashion brand, moving towards men's suits in the 1950s. By the 1970s and 1980s, the Hugo Boss brand had become a staple in men's high fashion, leaving the majority of its dark past seemingly behind. However, as we'll see, the past has a way of not staying hidden forever. In the 1990s, a series of investigations led to a resurgence of Hugo Boss's World War II affiliations. In response to this, Hugo Boss took an important step that many companies in similar situations often avoid. They commissioned a historical investigation into their own past. In 2011, the company made public a study titled Hugo Boss 1924 to 1945, conducted by historian Elizabeth Tim and commissioned by the company itself. It confirmed the company's use of forced labor during World War II and its affiliation with the Nazi Party. Public apologies were issued, reparations were paid, and Hugo Boss vowed to learn from its past and committed to a more conscious and ethical future. Today, Hugo Boss stands as a titan of global fashion, yet its journey is forever marred by a sinister chapter that serves as a sobering lesson in corporate responsibility and ethics. The company's legacy is, however, still a matter of debate. Some people believe that the company should be boycotted because of its role in the Nazi regime. Others believe that the company should be forgiven and allowed to move on. The debate over Hugo Boss's legacy is likely to continue for many years to come. The Holocaust was a horrific event in human history. It is important to remember the Holocaust and the dangers of which was allowed to grow in Germany at this time. It is also important to hold companies accountable for their actions. Hugo Boss is a company that has a dark past. The company produced uniforms for the Nazi Party and used forced labor from concentration camps. However, the company has also taken steps to atone for its past. It has issued a public apology, established a foundation to support educational and research projects on the Holocaust, and donated money to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. It is up to each individual to decide what they believe about Hugo Boss. However, it is important to remember the Holocaust and the dangers of fascism. It is also important to hold companies accountable for their actions. As we close this chapter of the sinister history of Hugo Boss, we hope this story encourages more discussions about corporate history and accountability.